when you've taken on the mysteries and you've asked another dimension for some help in expanding your consciousness, woo! And then you mess up, get ready. So here's what happened here. I convinced myself, and this is a part 2 to this other thing about how I'm admitting to have lied. And, what I did was I reverted a little bit back to some of the reasoning that, the negative reasoning, that allows people to form a model to do things they know are it could just be slightly wrong like this, but you have to nip it in the bud, detect it, and then talk about it. I mean, this is if you're a spiritual worker here. Talking about it, immediately starts to alleviate some of that ego-ness that crept in. So you tame the bull, ego, by identifying, which I'm doing here in the last video as well as this one, admitting to the mistake. And then you make sure that it doesn't happen again. And if it does that, again, you do go through the same process. You identify with it, try your hardest to not place it in an area would be susceptible to that sort of ridiculous compromise that we do with ourselves. And then just as a recap in this one, I had convinced myself that it was okay to lie in the sense of I received an item that was not defective and I said it was, to not have to worry about the hassle of refund. That's not important. The problem is there was a lie fused in there, and I thought the validation for it was because I received another item from them that's now I realized has defects in it. And there's a little more to that, but that's not important. So here's what happened. Right away, I get into a car where there was an issue with either the fuel injector or spark plug that I knew was going to go bad. But there had been signs of this for a long time. And so you mean to tell me the minute after I had sealed the deal on this, meaning I had secured the resolution I wanted, meaning refund instead of having to be stuck with the part, I go out, I forget if it was 2 hours or 4 hours later, it was not long at all, to one of my, not this car I'm driving obviously now, but my other one that I like to drive in the winter, and the check engine light came on. And so now, $461 later, and it's still in the shop, most likely going to be another $500, that fuel injector gave out. Okay? This is not a coincidence. This is not bad timing. And I want to clarify something. This is also not monotheism. These are guides teaching you a lesson. The reason why you have negative things happen when you step off a path is this is a serious path. As I talk about, I'm what we call an ascension modern mystery esoteric researcher / teacher, meaning I've given up everything. That's why there's teaching, that the label in front of it. That's serious, and I had years of martial arts training, and I had grandfathers in World War II. I respect the military. I have a military mindset, although I've never been in the military, and I don't agree with a lot of that. But you have to approach it like that. And I knew right away. I wasn't testing this. I already knew what I was doing, but for some reason, I just wasn't sure if this type of compromise that I was doing was wrong because I had already received a device from this company. So $461, I go into the shop with a diagnostic. I'm like, yeah, this is a 301 code here. We got a cylinder one. Let's go ahead and replace this. And what was I doing? I was trying to bypass the $100 diagnostic by doing my own diagnostic with a little tool, which doesn't necessarily mean that's the problem. And what else happened? What else happened, guys? Let's see here. That wasn't the problem. So again, instead of just paying $100, having them finalize the diagnostic, said, you know what, replace this part right here. And I just paid them $461. back to square one. It ended up being a fuel injector. And I also knew that it could have been a fuel injector. And I just... So I'm laughing at this. Do I look mad? No. Was I bent over financially? Yes. And you embrace the lesson and you smile. You go, yep, I knew better. But also I was warned before, and I talk about in all seriousness that once you are through initiation, you will be warned with 3D supernatural phenomenon. When something really bad's about to happen, this happened to me 2 times, where I was getting ready to go to work or I was at work, phenomena happened, and then something really bad happened hours later on. So it goes both ways. You got to stay on the right path. These are serious times. We're living in. The problem of evil seeped. AI is making it a lot worse. And just real quick, I'm not going to veer off into an AI talk here, but I do want to remind people that I have an extensive AI thread. And one of my main arguments, right when I started all this AI stuff's moving so fast, my thread's almost becoming old now, which is great. Not great in the sense of the nightmarish stuff is coming true, but great in the sense of where it's actually turning into a legitimate source to see my main argument, which is negative AI is bad. And one of the first things I said was, you're going to see a program like that cure cancer. And spiritual people all know if the consciousness shroud wasn't in place and the problem of evil was exposed through a particular method, which I've outlined I can do with the help of people, healing would come naturally. You wouldn't need pharmacology. And so I don't buy the AI curing cancer. I figured that would automatically happen, but as Yordowski points out in his book, the same program that could be doing that could have a sick preference that we know nothing about and could not detect at all, and it's actually working with the same materials it was using. Let's say it had a lab to cure the cancer. It could be using on the side a whole other project to destroy humanity, and there's nothing currently we could do to know if that was going on, because it could have hidden preferences which are based in no moral foundation. People have to remember that. I've been talking about this for a long time. I've actually been talking about this through videos for 3 years, all the stuff that's happening right now. And again, not subservience. No, I'm not getting paid back. This isn't punishment, okay? Because I asked for a special privilege, and I asked for this, basically. So it's not, it is not a punishment. It is what would naturally happen if you've harnessed angelic spirit energy and it's flowing, and that propagation, you do something that you know can interrupt that propagation. At the end of the day, remember, everything is waves. The word of God means original tone. Tone's waves. The first move. Everything is waves. And when you do something, even the slightest thing, when you agreed to do this kind of work, those waves will be manipulated, and that other negative waveform will creep in there and disrupt everything. Sorry, I'm driving at the same time. That's why I'm using very basic concepts here. And I use all kinds of different terms like spirit energy, spirit particles, and all that. I'm in a very sensitive intersection here. I do not want to get in a wreck and then have my other car here compromised when there's a $1,000 commitment now already. So that's how it works. And you learn from your mistakes. A lot of times we have to take losses like this financially. We learn from our mistakes and move forward. We just got to move forward. And it's a spiritual teaching that hopefully I can help others with, right? And this goes for anybody. It's good to stay calibrated regardless of if you're taking on a military-like spiritual path.